just going to be this episode is you just like
tired of this mortal world.
Singing sad songs for this chunk.
What do you need more? I'm falling.
Will's having a hard time.
So, what was the name of that episode?
The Balls.
Oh, okay.
That's the couple's name, yeah.
Yeah. We just watched the 12th episode of season 5 of The Magicians, also known as the second to last episode. And it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fun. I read when the news broke and everything that it was kind of like not a bottle episode, but like a diversion. And John was like, I don't know that I would have designed it that way had I known. But he was like, I still think that on some level they were preparing for this because we are tying up loose ends.
We really are.
I still don't know that I feel like all of them are going to be tied up, but I couldn't have even predicted that Santa was going to save the day.
I know, right?
That's something that they set into motion at the beginning of last season. So this was a heist episode. It was a musical episode. It was a musical heist episode, which is crossing off 2 magicians bingo.
Definitely. Because there's usually one of each of those per season. And this time we got them at the same time.
One of the better heist episodes, not one of the better musical episodes.
No,
but
there were a couple songs in the middle, specifically the Alice song and then the song that Alice and Elliot sang together, which maybe I'm just like a music idiot, but I didn't recognize either of them.
I didn't know them, and I'm not. And a lot of Alice singing, which, I mean, she has a fine voice, but it just was odd. I feel like their choices were kind of strange.
Yeah.
As fun as it was, I wasn't like, we need Pig Sean McGuire in here for...
I mean, it was delightful.
That opening. What was the song? I can't remember now.
Oh, God. The
first one.
Yeah, it made me want to watch 10 Things I Hate About You because it plays during the prom scene. Now I don't remember what it's called. Shit. I was very excited about it at the time.
Cruel to Be Kind?
Yes, Cruel to Be Kind. It's like Letters to Cleo or something like that, yeah.
I'm also like 90% sure that is a set and not an actual place.
The
Marina's apartment.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just the way they were going around it. I was like, you don't typically see, second stories and then ceilings on sets. I suppose probably on a show like this there would, because it's like the camera work and everything.
Sure.
There probably are ceilings that they like lower in and stuff. But so the couple lives in a hotel
called the Nave.
Because it's magic. Yeah. And the couple has the world seed and they have the Quentin's page from the book.
Correct.
And they're trying to build a world because they've pissed off some important people here and they want to have a child. And
so the people that they pissed off cursed them so they couldn't have a child. And that's like all they want to do. So they're going to go to this new world. I don't know how that's going to fix the curse, but whatever.
Well, I've said this before, and we did not get confirmation of it, and we don't really have a lot of signs pointing to it, but they're still giving me very Adam and Eve vibes.
Yeah.
And so that feels like something interesting this show could and would do. And they both were like ambiguously ethnic people, which it like has a biblical feeling to it.
Yeah. Well, the guy is the former Mr. Christina Hendricks.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that is him. Yeah.
And the girl is from
Delilah.
You. Yeah, Delilah from You.
2. Their last names were the Ball.
Yeah.
The Balls. That's why they go by the couple. But yeah, so it was very convoluted, and a lot of the stuff that we love and hate and love to hate and hate to love about the Magicians, where it's like there were like empath golems that helped keep the peace. And there was a lot of stuff like twisty turny logic stuff, but I mostly followed it, even if I didn't fully follow why or what it did. But they basically the couple had the seed in a knockoff handbag.
Yeah, a knockoff Birkin. Because Margot was like, that's not real.
Because the seed has to stay at 99 degrees and 99% humidity.
Yeah.
And so our heroes are trying to get the seed. And so they have to do a heist. And one of the ways that they did it was that Marina's leading it from outside with Zelda's help. Why was Zelda there other than it just was cool?
I think they just like sort of called Zelda in because she's
been around.
Yeah, she's involved in this as well. Because I think part of the book was like the Visigoths thing. from back then. So I think Zelda's just like wrapped in the group now. And Zelda was also the one that knew about the conductor spell so that they could all be in contact.
Yeah, so they did a conductor spell, and it was like how a conductor could psychically communicate with his orchestra, and they weren't supposed to be able to hear each other, but something went wrong that they could. I don't quite remember.
Well, that was why they took their emotions out, because it was the emotion. There was like an emotional thing, and they could all hear each other during this song at the beginning with Sean McGuire the pig. And cruel so that's why cruel to be kind. So that's why they took out their emotions like they did when they were doing Battle Magic in season 1.
Again, I followed it. I followed the what, not always the why, but a lot of opportunities for comedy and also for character dynamics. Because, like I said, I'm not mad that Zelda was there or any of the people,
or that she was interacting so much with Marina, and that they were having such opposite reactions to like the music and having the music happen to them. Like Zelda was just absolutely tickled pink, and Marina was like barely doing the choreography because she was so irritated.
Yeah, it's no secret that Morena is one of my favorites, but shout out to Casey Roll for nailing apathetic dancing.
It's amazing.
And the book, we did see that book before, I don't remember where, but when they opened it up, it was like a pop-up book that just kept popping.
It was amazing. That was like the coolest thing.
It's the stuff like that I'm one of the reasons why I'm so devastated the show wasn't going to keep going, because they do just keep pulling out weird like aces like that. But
absolutely.
They got the seed. What actually was accomplished? What do we need to touch on from this?
They got the seed, and I think they also got the page, so Fen could read it because she's Florian, and so she was realizing that they were translating it incorrectly. So they shot the man part of the couple in the hand, which I suspect that's going to be hard for him to cast, so they might have like a head start.
I do love how much you love Fen and like how much she's unafraid. Like she's weirdly steely in a way that you wouldn't.
I really, really love it. Well, she was steely in that moment because she still hadn't taken her or put her emotions back in. But the male part of the couple was like pulling out his knives again. Like he was going to like start torturing Fen if she didn't translate fast enough, which is like not a great way to operate, but whatever. And she just like looked over at the roll of knives and she goes, "I like your blades." Yeah. He just was like, "You're a strange girl." And I just was like, it's amazing. And I'm sure part of it is because, you know, I see a lot of Brittany Curran on Twitter and she's relatively interactive with the fans and stuff. And so I've had a couple back and forths with her and she's just so charming and a delight. And I think she brings that so heavily into Fen, and it just is like a whole perfect storm to make her my favorite character.
And they did get the seed that Fen smuggled out in a place that was warm and moist. So, and by seed, it wasn't like, it's not like a seed.
No, it was like you know what it kind of reminded me of is
like a dragon fruit.
Well, kind of like a dragon fruit, but like, you know how in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Kurt Russell is just like planting those pods on all of the planets, trying to see where it takes. And I was like, that's what it looks like.
Another thing that like does bum me out is this was a good episode for Marina. And I wanted so badly to meet her girlfriend, and I take it all back. But
yeah, because we met her like what, 2 weeks ago? Last week? Yeah, 1 week ago. And we were like, all right, well, you know, it's fine. Marina is a sociopath. I understand why you're like cranky with her or whatever, but she was such a fucking cunt in this episode.
I get it. Her motives are solid and all that, but it was like so not, because Marina was just like, this is not what it looks like. And she's like, it's exactly what it looks like, but it's not what you think.
Yeah, well, it's like, read the room, you know, like this moment is clearly not about you and your trust issues that Marina clearly gave librarian. You. Exactly. It just is like, read the room, read the situation, fucking calm down. And also, obviously Marina deserves it, but not a cool move to put a tracking spell on your girlfriend.
Because when she snapped the baton, you were like gasped. Damien at the end of Mean Girls.
Yeah. No, literally, I was like, because I knew that she would be out of contact with our people who were trapped in the nave. Because, you know,
Margot was like, well, Marina's offline.
Yeah, ridiculous.
But they did fix it, and they did get it back together. And Alice and her quick thinking wrote a letter to Santa, and he showed up at the end, presumably to rescue them.
Yeah.
We're 5 seasons in, and characters like Marina and Alice are exhibiting growth, and such interesting growth, because it's like Marina is still a sociopath, but she seems to actually understand what she's doing even beyond the binding spell.
Oh, absolutely.
She's always been almost reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, you can reason with sociopaths. They're just
sure.
You can tell them and appeal to them, but if they still don't want to, they won't. But yeah. I was going to say, to a lesser extent, Margot is also exhibiting growth. Like, could you imagine season 1 Margot being so schmoopy with a boy in front of everybody? And she was really schmoopy with Josh at the beginning of this episode. She was like, "That's why you're so adorable." And I just was like, literally never would she have done that prior to this. So it's like everybody's exhibiting growth in interesting ways. But I agree with you that like the ones that are doing it the most, like Fen and Marina and Alice, I am so desperately sad about what could have been next season. Yeah, because Alice
is one of my favorite characters at this point. Through this season, she has re-endeared herself to me. The way in which we're rotating cast members and focus and stuff, because like, you know, Margot and Elliot were breakout fan favorites, and a good deal of the show has been focused on them and catered to them. Yeah. And they, and especially Margot, have taken a bit of a backseat this season in a good way, in a necessary way. And I think it's tied to the growth, and it's tied to allowing other stories to grow and stuff. And it's very interesting. And I agree with you. Although in the middle of the season, I wasn't loving the season. I was a little bit strained.
Yeah. Well, we both were like, what is the end game here?
And now that we're building to the literal end game, it's back and good again. And you're right. It's not that I'm sad necessarily that it's ending, but it's just like they're still proving they have places to go. And I'm sad for a hypothetical future. And
100%.
It's the kind of thing that I've learned over time that I would rather, for the most part, have something end on a high note than get bad and then end.
It's such a tricky thing, though, because especially with this show, I cannot imagine a season 6 that would undo all 5 seasons of work.
Oh, sure. And actually, I mean, because by the time Teen Wolf ended, we were ready. We were like, okay,
we were ready for that. I definitely understand, because it's like, would I rather have, you know, that my example I always go to is Pushing Daisies. Would I rather that Pushing Daisies was still on right now, or do I love that there are 22 perfect episodes? And I definitely love that there are 22 perfect episodes, but it also is just like, you know, one of the tragedies of my life that show did not like succeed in any way. Well, you also didn't
get like a sense of closure that I feel like they're going to attempt to give us in one episode with this.
Exactly. Yeah.
We do have to talk about Penny and Julia. They were just off on a side quest on their own thing. Yeah. And they're still trying to deal with Julia's magic pregnancy. And they went to go visit his mother. And she's very much alive and well as long as he's not there, because it turns out that he has some form of magical tether to his mom. The hearing the voices thing, that was something he had to conquer as well, correct?
Yeah, that's what what his brain wards are for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep the voices out. So I think it's a traveler thing.
But it feels like it should be relatively easy to fix, although I don't know what doing wards like that on a human would do.
Yeah, that would be my concern as well.
She was interesting. It is a character trope that I do find interesting. There's different ways to do it, but it's sort of it's not, I call it the worthless mother, and it's not necessarily, she wasn't a worthless mother.
Well, yeah, I mean, she wasn't a worthless mother because she physically couldn't take care of him.
Yes, but I don't know. I have strong feelings about mother type characters, and I think it's just based on my mom. You know, she wasn't quite a smother, but you know, it's like I had an extremely, the women in my family were very nurturing in a way that when mothers don't exhibit that, although I love Stephanie, so I don't know what I'm saying, but I mean, Alice is also a pill, so it's like,
yeah, I mean, there are
Alice
exceptions.
Can meet Stephanie halfway several times or several places, and she doesn't. But I mean, did we get resolution there, or?
I think mostly it was just that they sort of have an idea to go off of to figure out what's going on and how to fix it with Penny and Julia and their baby. So that Julia won't go crazy and she can raise the baby.
But we don't think we're getting any more closure with Penny and his mom.
I doubt
in this next episode.
Yeah, I super doubt it. I would be happy to eat my words, but I super doubt it.
I still have hope that a couple things might make sense in this next episode. There's still a handful of, not plot holes, but up in the air things. I think I mentioned them like 2 weeks ago or something, like the woman in the candy house and or Quentin's son.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So we'll see. Are you ready to?
I am ready.